Listen, I just saw the new agreement that NAR put together about buyer compensation, and it's completely nuts. You know what realtors ought to be telling their buyers right now? Is buy with me today, because in 2 months, buying a house is going to cost you like $10,000 more. Why? Well, because you're going to have to pay my commission. Has anybody really covered that yet? This settlement and NAR's idiotic position means buyers are going to have to pay like $10,000 more. Well, let's look at it right now. Redfin stock is getting crushed right now. Zillow stock is getting crushed right now, and Open Door stock is getting crushed right now. Americans now say it's the worst time ever to buy a house. And I say, finally, some good news. What took you so long?
Just 21% say it's a good time to buy a house, according to a Gallup survey released Thursday. And that's tied with last year for the worst reading in Gallup history. An overwhelming majority of Americans, 76%, say it's a bad time to buy a house. That's just below the record of 78% just a year ago.
11% of Americans have zero right now in savings. 30% have up to $500 in their account. 8% have up to $1,000. 22% have up to $5,000. 8% have $10,000. And 7% have up to $20,000. Are you getting this? This means that 86% of all of us will not be able to buy a house. Only 13% of us are going to be able to buy a house under the new agreement.
American households carried $17.987 trillion in debt by Q1 of 2024, marking a significant rise over previous years. Mortgages accounted for 70% of consumer debt, with the average mortgage debt reaching $244,498 in 2023. Credit card debt slightly decreased to $1.115 trillion in Q1 of 2024, with an average balance per consumer of $6,501 as of Q3 2023. And you do realize, don't you, that home prices have gone up 47% since 2020. U.S. home prices' 41.1% increase since 2020 has outpaced not only the growth of the 90s, the 2010s, and it's now threatening to surpass the entirety of the 2000s.
If you expect lower mortgage rates to make buying a home slightly cheaper this spring, consider your home's dashed right now. This is what the experts are telling us. The Fed Reserve put a hold on interest rate cuts last week and tweaked plans for its balance sheet. Actions that may not raise mortgage rates significantly, but are likely to keep them elevated for a long period of time. This is according to analysts. Our reality of a Bankrate survey, a full 50% of those who apply for a loan since March of 2022 have been denied for that loan. Here's the deal. Most of those who were denied were trying to pull equity from their house that they already own.
82% who have been denied say that the rejection negatively impacted their finances. Because being broke, they couldn't pay their credit card, their car, or even their mortgage. To access the credit they need, nearly 1 in 4 rejected applicants, 23%, pursued alternative financing such as cash advances or payday loans, which come at even higher interest rates, up to 650% higher.
Let me show you here. Here's a graph of inventory. We're on the right-hand side right now. Now, we don't look all that bad, do we? However, we currently have about the same inventory we had back in October of 1981, about 40 years ago, when the population was 229.5 million. Currently, we have a population of 333 million. So to put this whole thing in perspective, we have about 2/3 of what we had over 40 years ago.
According to the Heritage Foundation, green housing mandates are pushing Americans more into the red. First point, new green energy mandates will add $31,000 to the cost of a new home. Second, as a result, amid a cost of living crisis, renters today are paying more than ever in housing costs, with half of them reporting difficulty paying their rent on time. And third, Americans need relief, not regulation, in their struggle to find affordable housing. I'd like you to take a look at this graph and picture. It goes through 2002, but shows very clearly and drastically the median sales price for a home and the median income.
Now, it's something that we all know, but could you have ever imagined that it would have ever been so unbelievably pronounced? What's scary is the number by today's standards is even worse. After all, this only goes to 2002. Unaffordability is now the biggest issue facing our country. According to Redfin, and as you can see from this graph, in 2021, the average housing payment was about $1,600 a month. In 2024, just 3 short years later, that same payment as of May 5th of 2024 is $2,800 $1,294. And that's based on an average interest rate of 7.22%. In other words, in 3 short years, the average payment has ballooned by over $1,200, or to put it even another way, our collective median housing expense has gone up an unsustainable 25% in those 3 short years. The seams are busting right now. The dam has fallen. The plane has crashed. The train is coming off the rails. Helter skelter, a 25% increase in housing in 3 years, and there is no relief, my friends, in sight. That is, of course, without you.
U.S. consumers expect mortgage rates to approach double digits over the next 3 years. U.S. consumers expect mortgage rates to approach double digits over the next 3 years, according to a study by the New York Federal Reserve. Households have a gloomy view of mortgage rates. Consumers, on average, said that over the next year, they expect the 30-year mortgage rates to rise to 8.7% and in 3 years to 9.7%, quote, both of which are series highs. While another Fed survey said consumer expectations are for even higher inflation in the years to come.
Riddle me this, loan officers. How the hell can homes be overpriced, as we're hearing right now, when values are still going up and interest rates are still like from the 6s to the 8s, depending on the program? Now, for all of you who just said, well, rates in the 8s, I'd say that you need to start thinking about non-QM a little bit more. Talk to my friends over at Oaktree right down below. If 8s ain't in your mind, you're missing loans.